Hi, I'm Rich McMullen in Miss Carlisle's English 1 class and Miss Hodges' Algebra 1 class.
And I'm Bill Suthers, a student in Mrs. Hodges' Algebra 1 class. Our classes have been recently working together investigating the influence of the ancient Greeks and what they've had on our modern world.
We found that the ancient Greeks explored and developed ideas which influenced their lives in the 1990s.
It's amazing to realize how many ways the Greeks reach out to us from the past. We run into our Greeks in our math classes, our English classes, and even our recreational classes.
To demonstrate what we found, our classmates developed a series of short skits. In combined Algebra 1 classes and English 1 classes, we worked on information, we wrote the scripts, prepared props, and filmed skits.
Our skits are nearly all based on news programs or talk shows formats. It seems that the talk shows on TV and the radio shows have all the rage today, so we took a shot at the popular format.
Well, we do have talk shows, that's true, but there are elements of comedy in our skits. It seemed important to keep a little humor in mind as we uncovered our great debts towards the ancient Greeks.
With all of this said, we invite you to come
Hi, I'm Rich McMullen in Miss Carlisle's English 1 class and Miss Hodges' Algebra 1 class.
And I'm Bill Suthers, a student in Mrs. Hodges' Algebra 1 class. Our classes have been recently working together investigating the influence of the ancient Greeks and what they've had on our modern world.
We found that the ancient Greeks explored and developed ideas which influenced their lives in the 1990s.
It's amazing to realize how many ways the Greeks reach out to us from the past. We run into our Greeks in our math classes, our English classes, and even our recreational classes.
To demonstrate what we found, our classmates developed a series of short skits. In combined Algebra 1 classes and English 1 classes, we worked on information, we wrote the scripts, prepared props, and filmed skits.
Our skits are nearly all based on news programs or talk shows formats. It seems that the talk shows on TV and the radio shows have all the rage today, so we took a shot at the popular format.
Well, we do have talk shows, that's true, but there are elements of comedy in our skits. It seemed important to keep a little humor in mind as we uncovered our great debts towards the ancient Greeks.
With all of this said, we invite you to come along with us now on a visual tour or talk shows and news programs about our inheritance from the ancient Greeks.
You know, Bill, the Greeks left us... You know, Bill, the Greeks left us a wealth of mathematics and scientific thoughts and principles. The first step on our tour is with Holly Burton, who has managed to interview the famous Pythagoras.
Hello, I am Connie Tung, and welcome to Towline News. Today we bring you a story of a Greek philosopher and mathematician. He has many contributions to mathematics and has many theorems. Let's go to Teresa Doorbell in Crotona, Italy. Teresa?
We're standing here in Corona talking to Pythagoras. Pythagoras, what's up with you and numbers?
I think everything is associated with numbers. I mystically associate numbers with virtues, colors, and many other ideas. Everything can be reduced down to them. As I always say, all is numbers.
I heard you came up with a theorem. Tell us about it.
Well, Teresa, the Pythagorean theorem states that in a right triangle, the square of the length of a hypotenuse equals the sum of the squares of the other two sides. To sum it up, it is written in the form a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Even though I am known for formulating this, the principles were known earlier.
Pythagoras, where were you born and raised?
I was born around 521 BC on the island of Samos. In about 529 BC, I settled here in Crotona. I founded a school of brotherhood among the aristocrats of the city. It resembled an Orphic cult.
Were the people of Corona suspicious of the numbers in the Brotherhood?
Yes, they killed most of the members in a political uprising. The brotherhood was finally destroyed in the 400s BC.
Tell us about your theory of souls.
I call it metempsychosis. It is based on the idea that the soul may pass out of one body and reside in another human or animal, or it is an inanimate object. The resulting concept is that the animal to be slaughtered might be the body of a friend who had died.
Can you tell us anything else about philosophers?
I obtained some of my ideas during my travels in the East. I believe that the Earth was spherical and that the sun, moon, and planets have movement of their own. My successors developed the idea. This is believed anticipated in the Capricornian theory of the universe.
Are there any other major accomplishments you have done in your life?
Well, Teresa, I was a religious leader and responsible for important developments in the theory of music. My Pythagoreans noticed that the ratios of the lengths of the strings are whole numbers, and that these ratios can be extended to other instruments.
Were you and other Pythagoreans involved with the history of astronomy?
Why? Yes, we were. In astronomy, the Pythagoreans were aware of the periodical numbers, relations of heavenly bodies. The celestial spheres of the planets were thought to produce a harmony called the music of the spheres. Pythagoreans believed that the Earth itself was in motion.
Thank you very much, Pythagoras. Thank you for your time, and we're glad to know about your accomplishments. Back to Connie.
That was a very interesting story. Tomorrow night, join us when we take a look at the new candidate for president, Jim Carrey, and his unusual thoughts of how this nation should be run. Good night from all of us at Toline News. See you tomorrow.
Good morning. This is Lyle Simmons with the Spartan Spotlight 6 o'clock early morning news. For all you who were able to get up this morning, we have a special feature. Our feature today is an interview with an old scientist and inventor, Archimedes, who is a native of Syracuse, Sicily. Was born about 6 BC, and he lived in Sicily and Egypt. He invented some machines that are still used today. He also devoted much of his life to the study of mathematical theories that are still used today. So we will now take you to Mark Herman, standing by live in Sicily with Archimedes.
Hello, Archimedes.
Hi.
Okay, my first question for you is, what was the best thing you have ever invented?
I have constructed many things that were really fun to build. I think the best one of all would probably be the Archimedean screw.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Archimedean screw?
The Archimedean screw was a big screw-type device inside a solid tube that was used to irrigate land in the Nile Valley. You would place one end of the tube in the water and one on land. The screw was inside the tube and would pull water up through the tube on the land.
What motivated you to build this?
When I was in Egypt, the land was dry, and we needed something to get water from the Nile to the land.
I was wondering if there were any other machines that you built.
Well, Mark, I have invented many machines and even theories for things. Some of the machines that I've built are still used today. One of those that is still used is the catapult. Another is the crane, which was used to pick up Roman ships and twirl them around. One of the hardest things I ever built were burning mirrors.
Burning mirrors?
Yes, they were a system of mirrors set up in a long row. The sun's rays would hit the mirrors, bounce off of them, and hit the Roman ships. The Roman ships would later burn.
Well, that is all the time we have for questions, but before we leave, I was wondering if you would show us your laboratory.
Okay.
Wow, this is pretty nice. But who's that man over there?
Where? Oh, I have no clue who that is, but he looks like a Roman soldier.
Which one of you is Archimedes?
That would be me.
I've been sent here to kill you.
Herman, a reporter from the Spartan Spotlight.
Now that I'm going to kill you, there is no witnesses to the scene.
Today's guest is Ptolemy from 170 AD. He will be telling us about his trying life as a scientist. He will be also giving us an in-depth look at his book, The Alchemist and the Geography. I understand you are a pretty famous astronomer.
Yes, I guess you could say that. I also well known for my scientific work in mathematics, geography, and optics.
You're a pretty old guy. Where did you live?
I lived back in 100 to 170 AD.
What kind of contributions did you make to mankind?
I wrote the Almagest. It is a 13-volume mathematical book, and its name means the greatest. It explains the theory of sun, moon, and the planets. I also attempted to graph the Earth, but I guess I did a pretty bad job. I thought the Earth was only 1/3 of its actual size.
What kind of people did you follow and what kind of school did you go to?
I didn't really go to school. I followed Hipparchus, who was a man with good ideas and had many students, and improved much of his work. I added 850 stars to his star catalog to make it 1,022 stars. I also extended observations and conclusions on the sun, moon, and planets that Hipparchus had found.
Little is known about your life before you worked in astronomy and geography. Can you tell us about it?
I'm from Alexandria in Egypt. I always have been fascinated with the stars. When I was a child, I would wake up in the middle of the night when the sky was clear and just look at the stars.
Do you mind if I ask you a personal question about your life?
No, don't mind at all.
Were you married?
Yes, I was. Hilda was my wife for 50 years. She was a beautiful woman from Switzerland.
Why did you decide to write the books you wrote?
Well, I really enjoy looking at the stars, studying land, and playing with chemicals. So I wrote a book about them.
Okay. What are your views of the position of the Earth?
The Earth is at the center of the universe. Well, look at the sky. Does not the sun and the moon revolve around us by going east and west? And besides, if we decided to tell anybody would not the church try to drive evil demon out of you?
Why did the church torture people who spread around different ideas?
Well, the church would not approve of any idea that did not go along with what the church was saying at any given time. Because if I was to say that the Earth was not the center of the universe, then the church would step in before you could cause any trouble. Even if I was true, the church would not listen because they were power hungry and self-centered.
What theories do you have about the shape of the Earth?
The Earth is a sphere. It is actually 2/3 bigger than my earlier estimations. The equator is lower than I thought.
Sorry, that's all the time we have for today. This is Mr. Ptolemy. Thanks for joining us.
We're here with news around the world.
We just got some shocking news. Hypatia, the great mathematician of Alexandria, was brutally murdered by a Christian mob who later fled in an antique car. And we have Dionysius Arius for the cover story.
Hello, Dionysius. Can you hear us?
When Hypatia was born in AD 370, the town of Alexandria was converting to Christianity, and they saw evil in mathematicians. They were usually torn by beasts or burned alive. Hypatia's father, Theon, who was a mathematician and astronomer at a museum, paid close attention to his daughter's life, making sure she was a perfect human being. She impressed many people with her knowledge and beauty. She became a teacher of mathematics and philosophy. Most of Hypatia's writing originated as texts for her students. Her most significant work was in algebra. She wrote a commentary on the arithmetic of Diophantus in 13 books. As a pagan, of Greek scientific rationalism, and an influential political figure, she found herself in a dangerous position in a Christian city. In 1412, Cyril, a Christian man, became part of Alexandria and feuded with Orestes, the Roman prefect of Egypt. And Cyril started to drive all the Jews out of the city and the Neapolitans out also. Hypatia ignored the pleading and refused to leave her great discoveries and abandoned her ideas and would not convert to Christianity. And that's what led to her death. And back to it, Len.
Peter, a reader of the Christian church, watched Hypatia, who was going home from some place or another. Peter and others pulled her from her Corvette and dragged her into the church where she was called Caesareum and stripped her stark naked, scraped her skin and flesh off her body with a sharp shell until the breath departed from her body. They chopped up her body into little gruesome pieces, then carried her to a place called Cineron and burned them to ashes. We will be back with the weather next.
Wow, the ancient Greeks surely left us with a wealth of scientific and mathematical influences.
Sure, but they left us with more than that. The Greek culture produced philosophers whose great thoughts still work with us. In fact, some of our classmates have prepared skits about Aristotle and Socrates.
Well, let's go to the little theater and see what my group has to say about Aristotle, but let's hurry. I'll be late for my part. Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Other Side. Today we will be interviewing a very famous Greek philosopher and who also studies many theories of science and metaphysics. His name is Aristotle. He was born in 384 BC and died in 322 BC. And when he was 17 years old, he went to study under Plato. In 347 BC, Plato died, so Alexander the Great picked him up to tutor his son in metaphysics. I've contacted a person, you might know him, his name is Punto Santiago, Spain. So today we will have him proceed to resurrect Aristotle from the dead. Punto? So, Punto?
Aristotle, rise, I command you.
Where am I? What has happened to me? Aristotle, you're in the 20th century. We've brought you back from the dead to appear on the famous show Beyond the Other Side. We'd like to ask you some questions that many people would have liked to ask you. So would you cooperate with us and let us?
Yes, I will help you if I can. What is it you'd like to know?
If you could live your life over again, how would you live it?
One thing I would have
changed is I would have written down all my dialogues so that people could have read them, because all I ever did was give lectures and talks, and none of it was written down, only like editorials and stuff. And Plato, he wrote down everything. And he's famous for it to this day. I would have wanted to write down everything.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Now let's ask the audience if there's anybody that has a question for him. Yeah.
Who do you think had the most influence on your life?
Two people. It was my father and my teacher Plato. My father taught me to be very observant of things in the nature and stuff, so that when I grew up, it would help me through astronomy.
Okay.
And then Plato taught me very well because he was very interested in mathematics and I was interested in science. So he taught me to interweave those two so I could come up with ideas for nature and just natural science.
Huh. This is very interesting. I wish somebody would catch us on tape because I won't be able to remember all of this. And for the final question, what would you like to be remembered for creating?
Oh, this is a very difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
Seeing that I had so many theories and thoughts. Here, let me take out my notes.
Okay.
Some of these are kind of odd to this recent day, but I didn't think lower class people, women, children, non-Greeks should be able to vote, or I didn't really even think they had an excellent character or any, thought. I didn't really take them into me. Okay. However, some of my thoughts are still considered good, and those are such as, I believed in the divine being of God, and doing that. I also thought that there was nothing in the intellect that was not first in the senses, And I believed that all events had a cause. Everything had a cause and effect. That was very strong. I was one of the first to ever bring that up, and that all humans wanted happiness. That's what the whole world, turned on, and happiness, and however they did it, friendship, hardworking, being hardworking.
Yeah.
They had goals in life, and those were my most strongest feelings.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Aristotle, for coming out and giving us some answers on all the questions we had for you today.
I hope it helped you out.
Yes, it did.
Well, I'm pretty tired. I'm gonna go rest in Hades.
Okay, so I'll have the Dr. Punto come out here and let him to rest.
How are you gonna do this? Oh, what is that?
Just a little something to help you sleep. Peace in the Middle East. Here we go.
Are we done?
Yeah.
Here, I'll fade to black.
No, everybody, here we go. That was awesome.
Your host, Jordan Boone, and her guest star, Socrates.
Hi, and welcome to the show. Today we are having a special edition about Socrates. He's joining us now via satellite from Athens prison. How's the reception?
Thanks, Jordan.
So, how do you feel just waiting there in prison for the ship to return, waiting for your execution?
Well, I feel the court's decision was wrong and unfair, but I'm going to stay true to my beliefs and principles. I'm not worried. I could have got out of it if I wanted, but no one can change my ways, my beliefs, or my destiny.
What memories do you have as a young child or man?
I remember as a young man being very interested in the works of Anaxagoras and Archelaus. I listened to many debates and ceremonial orations. I also remember a war as a child. The Athens were defeated.
Tell us about your family, Socrates.
I remember as a young man being very interested in the works of Anaxagoras and Archelaus. I listened to many debates and ceremonial orations.
Socrates, we all know you were a teacher. Tell us about this.
Well, yes, I was a teacher. I taught for free because I feel giving my knowledge to others should not be priced.
Do you feel any guilt for one of your students questioned, corrupted, and rebelled from the government?
I feel no guilt whatsoever. I taught my students only to question. I obeyed the laws myself.
Who do you believe were your most successful student?
I believe Plato and Xenophon were my most successful students.
Let's talk about the trial. What exactly were you charged with? Explain this.
I was tried on 2 charges for both not worshiping the gods and for corrupting the young. The first charge was completely unfair. I stayed true to my religion, just customs. I have an inner voice. It warned me when I was doing something wrong. It never encouraged, it warned. I believe the second charge was due to guilt. I was not responsible for some of my students rebelling. Like I said before, I taught my students only to question. I never once encouraged violence.
Well, what happened during the trial?
During the trial, I made sure everyone knew I would never stop questioning. I would not be banished. I would remain in Athens doing as I've always done.
Tell us once again what the jury's decision was and how you feel about it.
The jury condemned me to death, commanding me to drink hemlock. I'm not worried about death at all. Actually, I'm pretty excited to explore death.
Now, why is this?
I believe one of 2 things will take place. Either there will be eternal sleep, or I will go to a place where many other deceased philosophers will be gathered to have friendly discussions about philosophy.
Socrates, is it true you could have gotten out of your death?
Yes, while I was in prison, a friend of mine came to visit. He told me he could get me out of there with a place to live. He was going to bribe the guards, but I chose to stay.
If you could take back your way of teaching and your questioning, would you? To be with your family, to teach again, to be with your students?
No, because I feel I did nothing wrong, and if I were to continue on with my life, I would definitely continue to question and teach and live the truthful life.
Well, that's about all the time we have here today. I hope you enjoyed our special edition on Socrates on The Jordan Boone Show. Bye now.
Last night, Socrates, a famous philosopher of the Western Empire, was put to death after being sentenced for the corruption of the youth of Athens and for his non-belief in Athenian gods. There are many people who do not agree with this trial because only the courts and the assembly have the right to condemn a man to death. The jury was made up of 501 Athenian citizens, chosen by a lot to represent Athens. King Akron was on his platform, and the room was packed with spectators, some tense, some just observing. Socrates defended himself, except for the occasional witness who testified for him. On the prosecuting side stood Antius, Malaeus, and Lycon. Now we go to Atlanta Aries with Antius, a man on the prosecuting side.
Here with me is Antius, a prosecutor in the Socrates trial. What is your opinion about the outcome of the trial?
I think that the outcome was a very good one. Socrates is a very dangerous man to our society. He is always stirring up things. Just look at Socrates' students have been. Alcibiades, for one, a drunken rowdy who led fellow Athenians on some kind of expedition to Sicily. Then there is Critias and Charmides, who are bloody tyrants. They are 2 more members of Socrates' little circle of friends. I feel that it was necessary for the good of Athens and that Socrates left.
Did you agree with the death sentence?
No, I didn't. I wanted him to be put to death. I didn't want him to be put to death. I merely believed that he should have gone to exile.
Thank you, Antius. And now back to you, Hypatia. Hypatia.
Socrates left behind him many friends and family who will miss him. We take you again to Jason, who has a report on the family and friends on the day of Socrates' sentencing. Jason?
The only one not present that morning was Socrates' most faithful student of all, Plato. Plato had fallen ill that morning. When their friends had entered, they found Xanthia, Socrates' wife, sitting beside Socrates, holding their youngest child in their arms. When she saw the friend, she wailed, "O Socrates, this is the last time that you will be able to converse with your friends."
I totally disagree. Socrates was a peaceful man. He was not all corrupting the youth of Athens. He was merely teaching them to expand their knowledge by thinking for themselves and asking questions.
So, were you there when through the whole trial?
Yep.
Will you brief us on your Socrates opening statement?
Socrates talked about how all the things that the prosecution side had said were totally false. He said that while he was on trial, he would tell nothing but the truth, whereas the prosecutors had been lying.
Okay, thank you, but for a while we're going to have to hear these go to commercial break. And now we're back to World News, Channel 32. How has this affected you and the other followers of Socrates?
It has been a great loss. Socrates has been a great mentor as well as a great friend to me. I believe that of all the men of our time, Socrates was the wisest and most just. I admire how he spent his last days. I visited him often, and he was always in higher spirits than...
Thank you, Jason. Socrates' death was not the least bit painful. He was ordered to drink hemlock, which is a nerve poison. It acts quickly and painlessly, paralyzing the nerves that control breathing, and life stops. The last words Socrates spoke were, "Credo, io cocta Asclepius." Will you remember to pay the debt? The debt shall be paid. Is there anything else? There was no answer. He pulled a blanket over his head, and he lay there motionless. The jailer uncovered him. His eyes were fixed and sightless. Credo tenderly closed them for the last time. Socrates' long journey through life was over. But his legacy of the just and right will live on forever. This is Hypatia Perseus. See you next time on Channel 32 World News.
BC today, and we're looking for Hippocrates. Can you tell me where Hippocrates is?
I'm Hippocrates.
Oh. Welcome to the first of our series of Living Famous People. I'm Cliff, and I am the host of this evening's show. Tonight we are interviewing Hippocrates, who is referred to as the distinguished father of medicine. Please welcome the distinguished father of medicine. Well, can you tell us about your early life, work?
I was born 460 BC on the island of Kos, northwest of Asia Minor.
Why were you called the father of medicine?
While I am the founder of scientific medicine, I worked and studied about illnesses, surgery, fractures, anatomy, and the dream, as well as an attack of the view that diseases were divine of origin.
Anatomy, wasn't that illegal back then, and what did you do, and how did you do it?
It was illegal, but it benefited mankind. I would go to the graveyards and study the body.
Do you have a great impact on any cultures or anything?
Yes, the impact of Roman and Greek education was strong and long-lasting in the Western culture. In medicine, a research-oriented school was led by me at Kos. For many centuries, the medical science of me and Galen was the most advanced in the West.
How many books did you and your students' admirers write, and what were they about?
Just a little more than 70.
But what are your books about?
My books are about illnesses, surgery, fractures, anatomy, and dreams. Perhaps the most important idea associated with me is that of relying on facts about clinical observation and experiments.
Can you tell us about your books and what you wrote in them?
Me and Aristotle wrote of ointments and cautery with a red-hot wire to treat diseases of the teeth and oral tissues. We also spoke of tooth extraction and the use of wires to stabilize jaw fractures and bind loose teeth.
I've heard of the Hippocrates Oath. What is it?
The Hippocratic Oath serves as an ideal of ethics for physicians. It is not the work of just me. Also, my students and followers help put the Hippocratic Oath together.
Did you like your work as a physician, or did you want to be something else? And if you did, why?
No, I probably just wanted to be a physician, because I can't remember anything else that I wanted to be. Right now, all I wanted to be was a physician.
How come that's all you want to be?
It's the only job that I can think of that I was good at.
How long do you think you've been a physician?
I've been a physician almost all my life, and I really don't know how long.
Did you start any first medical sciences or anything?
Yes, about 400 BC, I complied on airs, waters, and places, the first medical climatology. Exploration, trade, and early scientific discoveries made fundamental contributions to climatology. But modern science began with the invention of meteorological instruments.
Well, I'm very sorry, Hippocrates, but that's the end of our show. We'll see you next time before 377 before you die.
Well, Rich, those philosopher groups said a mouthful. Did our classmates find any other important things about the Greeks?
In fact, some really famous literature has been found about the Greeks that has come to us from Homer.
Homer, is he?
Yes, Homer. He wrote about the Trojan War. Some of the fragments that we found are about what happened to start the war, and others are really just to tell us what happened to the hero of the Trojan War when the fighting was over.
I think we should go up to the library classroom and see what is happening.
Let's go.
Welcome to our show. Tonight we will be talking about the choice Paris made over who the most beautiful goddess was. Here come our guests. Now let's give them a warm welcome. They've traveled a long way for tonight's show. This is Zeus. And this is Helen of Troy. Let's give them a warm welcome. Have a seat. So, how are you two doing on this lovely night?
I'm doing pretty well, Geraldo. Thanks for asking.
My life has been good for me, too.
Enough with this chit-chat. Now let's get down to business. This question is going to Helen. Helen, did you mean to go with Paris, or did he kidnap you?
Well, I've been guilty of lying to my husband for this show. I'm going to tell the truth. I went willingly with Paris.
How do you think your husband will react to learning this news?
I don't care how he acts. If he doesn't respect me for telling the truth, then I don't think he truly loves me.
I feel as if we're leaving Zeus out of the show. And I don't want the king of gods mad at me, so this next question is for him. Zeus, why did you send the 3 goddesses to Paris for the little beauty contest?
The reason I sent them to Paris was that I didn't want to have to make the choice between my wife, sister, and daughter, making 2 of them mad at me, and one of them loved me more.
Wise choice, wise choice. If only we could have Paris here to tell us why he chose Aphrodite over Hera and Athena, giving up wealth, wisdom, and power.
Geraldo, if I may ask this question, Helen, why did you lie to your husband at saying that Paris kidnapped you? Actually, you went with him willingly.
Why do you care?
Because I don't see why she should have lied. She said earlier, if you didn't respect her for telling the truth, she doesn't care.
Maybe she doesn't want to tell you why she lied.
I don't care if she does or doesn't, but I want her to say so, and not some dork talk show host.
Who are you calling a dork?
Don't worry, I'll just tell. stop.
Broke my nose. How's it better?
Well, Zeus, the reason I lied to my husband was because after I got back, I felt sorry for the grief I had caused my husband, and I didn't want to make things worse by letting him know that I had left willingly and chose Paris over the man whom I had loved for so many years.
I think that wraps it up for our show tonight, folks. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you tomorrow when the show will cover the topic of mutilated lab mice and the children who love them.
Welcome to the Sarah Show. Today, our guests will be talking about heroism in ancient times. We have two very special guests for you. You may have heard of them. First, we have Homer. Homer is the author of the Greek poem, the Odyssey. Homer is believed to have lived in an Ionic settlement during the Trojan War, 12th century BC. He is believed to be blind, and yet he is still very brilliant. Next, we have Odysseus. He is the main character in Homer's epic poem, The Odyssey. So, Homer, explain to our audience where the heroism factor comes into play in your epic, The Odyssey.
Well, you know, Sarah, it's not just heroism that is expressed in my story, but I guess that's our topic, isn't it? As you already may know, everyone needs a hero. The hero in my epic poem is Odysseus, or as the Romans called him, Ulysses.
Hi, I'm Odysseus.
Like, are you Odysseus? Yes, as he just stated, he is Odysseus.
Okay, let's get on with it. I've got monsters to kill and children to feed.
I understand that you were a prisoner of Calypso for 7 years. What happened after Zeus set you free?
My raft broke, and I was drifted to the island of the Phaeacians.
That's not all. While he was there, he had a great feast and told the people of his adventures.
Oh yeah, I told them of the Lotus Eaters.
Like, who are those Lotus Eater people?
The Lotus Eaters live on an island on which the flower grows that makes you lose your sense of home.
Doesn't it also make men lose all contentment?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
So tell our audience about how you showed heroism in this journey.
Well, I guess it was when I had to tie the 3 men up and carry them back to the ship, for they had been drawn to the lotus flower. As I made my way back home, I was captured by the Cyclops, Polyphemus.
Can you tell our audience more about this Cyclops?
Yeah, like, what is a Cyclops?
A Cyclops is a one-eyed giant with a temper almost as huge as himself. They live on an island but must be separated from each other so that they don't kill each other.
Lucky for us, Cyclopses are stupid. We got Phenos really drunk and threw a spear into his eye, and we tied ourselves under the sheet so that when we were let go in the morning, we were able to get away safely.
Odysseus' effort in the fight with Polyphemus shows bravery, strength, and craftiness, which are all parts in the making of a hero.
Enough with that story. Let's go on to your next adventure. Tell us what happened with that evil enchantress Circe.
Okay, well, that witch turned my men into pigs. The only way we could get away was for me to sleep with her.
Well, like, how come she just turned you into a pig too? You don't look so special.
Well, Odysseus was given a magic flower by Mercury. That flower stopped her magic from working on him.
Well, I'm confused. When do the sirens come into your adventure?
The sirens are 3 bird-like singers. I had to put beeswax into my men's ears so that they wouldn't be drawn to them and their island to be destroyed.
So, like, who are Skyla and Charybdis?
Near the end of their adventures, we encountered Scylla, an evil sea monster, and Charybdis, a frightening whirlpool. They went in between the two and had to sacrifice 6 men to Scylla's 6 heads.
That's all the time we have for now. Join us next time for a wonderful show on Stupid Dog Tricks.
That Odysseus was quite a guy, wasn't he? What else do we know about the heritage from the Greeks?
Well, 1996 is an Olympic year. We can't finish our work without checking out the Greeks' part of what our Olympic celebration. The Olympics are waiting.
Welcome to the WNC Evening News. Today we are looking back on the first Olympics. And here with us is Jeff and Laura, and joining us soon will be Nate in Atlanta. So Jeff, tell us about the first Olympics.
Yes, the first Olympic Games were such events as running, jumping, discus, weightlifting, gymnastics, rope climbing, and tennis.
The first Olympic Games were just in the summer. In fact, it was not until 1924 that the first Winter Games were held in France.
I believe that the Olympic winter sports were bobsledding, ice hockey, speed skating, and skiing. Is this all true?
Yes, that is true. Those were the first Winter Olympic Games.
Tell us more about the games. Where they were held, what did they wear, who was allowed to watch?
The summer and winter games are not always held in the same place. They can be in a different city or even in a different country.
During the games, they did not wear any clothes at all, and the women were not allowed to watch.
And that leads us to the upcoming Olympics this summer.
Yes, the Summer Olympics in Atlanta, and with us in Atlanta is Nate. Hello, Nate. How is it in Atlanta?
Hello, here I am in Atlanta at the site of the upcoming Olympics that will be held this summer. I'm looking forward to seeing the men's long jump.
Nate, why do you like to see the long jump so much?
Well, Jeff, it is a tradition in my family. My great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, my grandfather, my 3 uncles, my 2 brothers, and me.
Well, Nate, that is a lot of people in your family to be in the long jump, but what does that have to do with the Olympic long jump?
My brother is the only one who ever made it to the Olympics out of my family, so I'm looking forward to seeing him win. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's a lion! Oh my God!
Thank you for your time, Nate. We will see you soon.
Wow, the first in the family to make it. His brother must be very happy. Well, thank you all for watching our show today, and stay tuned tomorrow when we have Martha Stewart and Strawberry Pots.
Goodbye, everyone.
See you later.
Okay. Today we will be hearing from some Olympians. This is a contribution to the ancient and modern day Olympians. Our guest is Josh. Welcome, Josh.
Hello.
Okay. You've had a good experience in the Olympics, right?
Yes, I've had some good experience in the Olympics.
Okay. What events were held, and what particular events did you take part in?
The particular events were chariot races, wrestling, boxing, and the brutal sport called pancratium, and the pentathlon, combination of 5 sports discus, javelin, wrestling, long jump, and sprint. I don't really remember what events I took part in. That was a long time ago.
Why were the Olympics suspended in 393 BC?
In 393 BC, a religious change came to the Greek world when the Romans took over. And with the spread of Christianity, the Roman Emperor Theodosius I declared an end to all pagan rituals, including the Olympics. They were revived around 1875 to 1881.
Okay. Do you remember any famous Greek Olympians?
Yes, Grobus, a sprinter, who was the first record champion. I really don't remember what his time was or what the distance was. I don't quite remember them that well, and I don't remember any women Olympians because for a long time women could not compete. All of that was a very long time ago. Good morning, I am Josh from Missoula. I'm going to be interviewing a woman from ancient Greece who is 2,100 years old. Her name is Angel. Welcome, Angel, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Josh, and thank you for having me.
We all have been wondering for years why women aren't allowed to participate or watch in the early Olympic Games.
Well, women weren't allowed to participate or watch the games because it was the law. The Olympics were only for male citizens. We were not considered citizens because we were nothing to the males. I hope that answers the question for you.
Angel, you answered my question perfectly, but I don't understand the law. What's the law?
The law said that if a woman was caught trying to watch or participate, she would be put to death.
Wow, that's harsh. How did that make you feel?
The law made me angry, but that didn't stop us from trying. We were thrilled when the law was changed in 264 BC. After that, we did not have to sneak in. It was great to be part of the men's culture.
Before women were allowed in the games, did you have anything that you did as a type of a game?
Yes, actually we did. There was a 160-meter foot race in honor of Hera, Zeus's consort.
That's all the time we have now. Thank you, Angel, for your information. Have a good day, everyone.
Good evening. I'm Gabrielle, and thanks for joining us tonight with the Olympic special. Tonight we are interviewing a modern Olympian. His name is John. Welcome to the show, John.
Hello, Gabrielle. Thanks for having me on the show.
The pleasure is mine. Who is your favorite Olympian?
My favorite Olympian is Jesse Owen.
Do you mind us telling why?
No, I don't mind. He is the reason why I chose to compete in the Olympic Games. He set his first track record while he was still in school at Cleveland's Fairview Junior High School in 1932. He finished the 100-meter dash in 10 seconds. He equaled the world record in the 100-meter dash. He set new records in the 220-yard dash, 220 low hurdles, and the running broad jump.
Wow, that's a very good reason. What sports are there to compete in now?
Well, during the summer, there are archery, basketball, boxing, canoeing, horseback riding, fencing, field hockey, gymnastics, judo, rowing, handball, shooting, soccer, swimming, tennis, track and field, volleyball, and water polo, weightlifting, wrestling, and yachting. The winter events include skating, skiing, bobsledding, tobogganing, ice hockey, and ski shooting or biathlon.
Well, thank you, John, for all the information, and we hope to see you soon.
Ladies and Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest named Gabrielle. Please welcome her now.
Thank you.
Do you know the purpose of the Temple of Zeus?
Yes, I do. The Temple of Zeus was built in order to praise and honor the Greek god Zeus. The games themselves were held to praise Zeus.
You know, Gabrielle, that a long time ago, women were not allowed in the Olympics. Later on, they were then, after the Romans took control, they weren't allowed again. Do you know when that changed again and who excused the change?
That was changed in 1900 when Charlotte Cooper won a medal in the tennis singles.
I'm glad you could provide me with that information because I didn't know that.
I'm glad I could help.
Well, we're running out of time, but one more question. What sports can women participate in now?
Well, they can participate in the running events, shot put, discus, high jump, long jump, swimming, ice skating, skiing, volleyball, baseball, softball, and gymnastics.
Thank you for coming, Gabrielle.
Well, that about wraps it up. Our time is up and our skits are over.
Well, thanks for joining us and goodbye.
Damn, dude, stay still.
Alrighty, cool. Alrighty. Subaru Brats, I hate those stupid cars. They're all short and stubby. They must be from Mars. Subaru Brats, they look like a truck whose plastic surgeon did one too many nip and tucks. Subaru Brats, those half truck, half cars. Those rusted out piece of shit cars from Mars. Subaru Brats, they hardly ever run. To do something good with one, you need a big gun. Subaru Brats. There's my name.
The Lovely Chant Poem by Corey Oxner. The little eagle fell dead to the ground. The sound of silence filled the air. I laughed 'cause life is funny. Another species extinct today. Some people angered, some don't care. I laughed 'cause life is funny. Another explosion, 3 people killed. Remorse and fear throughout is showing. I laughed 'cause life is funny. Pollution warnings in a city, a sign of panic and despair. I laughed 'cause life is funny. God. Some other country declared war on mine. Worried people, frightened and scared. I laughed 'cause life is funny. Everybody is dead. And you know what? I thought life was funny. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody.
Wave your arms and act like God.
Yep, go whenever you want.
My teen angst is killing me. A misfit in a world of corruption. I stand alone, I stand tall. Drugged through the great fashion show we call life. I lost all my compassion and love. There's others like me, I know this. Together we're a great brick wall, impenetrable to all others. We're the upper echelon of the galaxy. No one word describes us. No one person tells us what to do. Outcasts of society rise up, fight, win, anarchy forever.
Welcome
to Big Sky
High School. What are you, the student body president, doing painting?
I don't know, because I'm not artistic.
Check them out, green stars.
Apparently this is like a group activity. Anyone who comes by can paint on the walls here, as long as they don't really go off the paper or anything. This is both of our reporters' favorite classroom. The door.
Yes, we are.
Round. It's got an interesting atmosphere.
Yes.
This is one of the centers of the school activities because it's the center of our drama activity, and we think it's pretty darn important.
And here is the drama teacher.
Our director.
Are you signing?
Back in 1992 when I graduated from high school that I would be standing here again speaking at a homecoming. Not only that, but also an open house, I would have told you that you were crazy. Cheerleading on the football field, maybe, but not speaking here before you today. It is such an honor to have been asked to be here today, not only because it is homecoming, it is open house, and on such a wonderful dedication evening. I am honored to be here. I am excited about the prospect of this becoming a homecoming tradition. I think that we have so much to offer as alumni to Big Sky High School, and I encourage you, students who are standing out there today, do not lose sight of the times that you have at Big Sky High School. You will never get them back, but you will always treasure them. And I do treasure my times here at Big Sky High School. I was involved in cheerleading and Key Club, and they were wonderful experiences, and I think that when I look back on it, those are the things that made me, they each played a very integral part of who I am today. So I am very thankful and very honored to be a 1992 graduate of Big Sky High School. Thank you very much for letting me be here tonight and share with you.
One of the first persons that I met that spring was Sebastian Smith. When I met him, he had a Big Sky Eagle hat on. And I couldn't believe it because I've been looking for one, and he had one. And you know what? He was really, really proud of that hat, and he wore it with a lot of pride. And I learned very early that Sub would be a terrific and loyal supporter of the Eagle activity programs at Big Sky. He loved the Eagles. They became his passion.
¿Dónde parte?
En Yucatán, donde hay las ruinas y todo que es pertenente a los mayas.
I want your soccer. Are you all students here?
I go to Sentinel. I go to Sentinel, serious.
Liars. No. What kind of toothpaste do they use over at Sentinel?
They don't.
What the heck is that? Did you know that they had that in common with our football players?
Yep.
Yo, what kind of toothpaste do you use? Big.
Carl, what kind of
And you go to Big Sky?
Hey, if you were given a huge pile of mashed potatoes the size of a Winnebago, what would you do with it?
Doing homework.
Throw it on my buddy Katrina. I have Crest. By the way,
about potatoes here.
we're on the Big Sky side, mashed potato.
We hear you're responsible for the penguins.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of toothpaste do you use?
What kind of toothpaste do I use? Whatever my wife buys.
Is it a paste or a gel?
Gel's my favorite. Sometimes she buys paste though, and I don't like it.
Okay.
But I use it anyway.
Okay, thank you.
This is one of our area-inspired creations right up here. That's a band we have at school, John E. Angel, and its first performance in front of an audience was at an area reading. We're pretty proud of that. We inspire art. And these are other inspired by our airy class.
Oh, I love this slobbering dog.
Use toothpaste in 10 years.
The pressure.
Oh, what you're seeing here are the candidates who have been nominated, and we'll start with our freshmen first. We have Molly Hayes and Carl Christofferson. We have Jen Moore being escorted by John Howard. Next we have Joe Logan being escorted by Ted Dutton. That's the long and short of it right there. We have Miss Sarah Minkler being escorted by Chad Adelman. And our last freshman group, we have Kim Mesker being escorted by Mr. Bo Hughes. Okay, nice job, freshmen. All right, your sophomore candidates. Our first couple here, we have Mary Mua being escorted by Mr. Brent Myers. Our second group, we have Laura Patrice being escorted by Mr. Dustin Hadnot. Our next pair, we have Angela Ozuna being escorted by Spencer Harding. Our next group, we have Candy Calkins being escorted by Reuben Bull. And our last pair of sophomores, we have Charity Justice and Mr. Mike Stevenson. All right, our juniors.
I can't believe Molly and Carl. That sucks.
Okay, our juniors, first off, we have Melissa Pryor being escorted by Matt Landy. Our next pair, we have Miss Jacqueline Guest being escorted by Gary Millward. Nice time, Gary. You're in. Our next couple here, we have Jenna Halverson being escorted by Lindsay Woolley. Smile, Lindsay. Okay, our next, we have a trio here. We have Trish Baldwin and Matt Nord and Laura Sturgis. So Matt is a lucky guy. Now he is smiling. Here we have Michelle Raleigh and being escorted by Dave Meekum. And now, our seniors. This guy's got a smile. We have Casey Hearns escorting Miss Katie Yance and Miss Melanie Michael. And, oh, Sean, you got a smile. Yeah, okay. We got Sean Hummer here escorting Lindsay Holt and Jennifer Dalton. And this last special couple, we have Piper Denton being escorted by Amy Mindset.
Okay, you're a cheerleader, right?
Yes.
Could you do a cheer?
Now?
we got a little locomotive action here, and it hits this spray can. And it says, warning, flammable. Usually this is on fire, but Mr. Harkins won't let us light it on fire anymore because I clouded up this whole upper section this time, third period. But anyway, it shot a big fireball about that far out, and it was a happy thing, and we're getting the Mad Max award for it.
Wait, how does it keep time? It like goes up.
We count the flames.
Cool. So wait, oh, I see the water.
The water
pours
falls,
in.
and it spins.
Right. Oh, I see. Oh, cool. So it's like a continuous.
Yeah, and the water flow is a constant, so it goes at the same rate. So you got a clock going.
Wait, that's for emergency?
And we brought our own safety equipment. We have no smoking signs. We had a helicopter in operation sign. We had a do not stop sign, logging operation sign. Oh, and you have to check out the bucket here.
And where does the penguin come in?
Okay, it says warning. Children can fall into bucket and drown. Keep children away from bucket, even with a small amount of liquid. And even in Spanish, look at that.
Wow.
So we were all over. See? All right. And the penguin's being roasted here by the polar bear. And that's about all I can say.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Yes. What kind of deodorant do you use? Gillette. Is it working right now?
Yeah. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien.
Are you sure? Con que lava tus dientes.
I don't know that one.
What toothpaste do you use?
Crest.
Would you recommend that kind of toothpaste to a Spanish-speaking audience?
Are you in a sport?
See.
Are you in football Americana? Okay, so you're playing in the big game, right?
See.
Okay, what kind of toothpaste are you going to be using in the game?
Do you think that will help your offense or your defense more?
Real men don't brush their teeth before the game. Let your beard grow.
Hi, are you planning on attending Big Sky High School?
Oh no, not me.
Do you brush your teeth?
Uh-huh.
Are you planning on going to Big Sky?
Yeah.
What brand of toothpaste do you use?
Crest.
Oh, what brand of toothpaste do you use?
Aquafresh.
And would you recommend that to your choir students?
Absolutely not. Something stronger than that.
Excuse me, what kind of toothpaste do you use?
Aquafresh.
Okay.
What kind of toothpaste do you use?
Dental Care Baking Soda or something like that. I don't really know the name.
Okay. Here's the baking soda.
What brand? I don't brush my teeth. What are you talking about? Why would I brush my teeth?
Hi, my mom makes me that delicious tasting kid stuff with green stripes for it.
Con que lava tus dientes.
Yeah. Crest.
No.
Crest.
Who cares?
I do, but I'll be there.
Real benefits Spam has to our society.
I would say the definite benefit is a staple food source for low-income families and people that enjoy history, progress.
That's Colgate. Said I don't brush my teeth.
You don't use
Crest.
toothpaste.
Yep. Or that, what's the baking soda.
Yeah, that's what I use too.
Yeah, it's not bad. It doesn't taste bad. I think it tastes worse.
It's a little bit crunchy, but it's good.
Oh yeah, well it's kind of great. It makes me feel